Baruch Hashem Rabbi Sai, a gewaldige, new, fresh start. We're starting Torah Chaf Gimel in Tinyana and Torah Chaf Dalid in Tinyana. And these are the Torahs, Baruch Hashem, of Simcha. Of Simcha. Mitzvah Gedoyla Liyos B'Simcha. We're going to see essentially Reb Nachman's most seminal teachings on Simcha. The essence of Simcha, how to be B'Simcha, what is Simcha, how to combat the forces that try to prevent Simcha. It's going to be ganz lebendig here in Esha Torah and around the world for all of humanity as we're journeying through these Torahs. We have to give a tremendous thank you to Yedid Nafshi, Reb Nachman Fried, and the Kol El Torah's Chaim, who mamish brought us the goods, and Reb Moti Gottlieb from the Talmud Teirosai, who is literally spreading Breslov Torahs around the world, and the Breslov Research Institute of Chaim Kramer, who provided the English translation for us, this special English edition with an exclamation mark. Like, let's go. Here we go. For the English speakers in the world, we want to make sure that everybody has access to the Torah of Rabbeinu, and that they shared and provided these amazing learning resources with us, and it's a gift for everybody to have this. The idea is that you want to live with this, you want to own this. Even the printing is so nice. You feel that, like, with the cover, it's like, it's quality. So put your name in it, feel that this is yours, and we're going to go on this journey into the world of Simcha. And this is going to be our technology. This is like, these are our weapons. Our weapons to bring happiness into the world and to combat depression. This is the pharmacy. Okay, so we're going in, my friends. And L'shem yichud kudsha b'richu shchinte, we should be zoicha mamish to unify Hashem, the Hashem that is above and beyond all the worlds, with the Hashem that's in this world, that it's all one, that there's no separation.
Amen.
And we're going to do that through Simcha. Now remember, we just journeyed from a Torah that we spent a lot of time on, Tinyana Beis, and it's not an easy thing to go into a new Torah because you're still like reverberating from all the eitzes of the past Torah. We're holding in a shahakol here. And therefore, it's a normal thing for a person to feel like a residual from the old Torah, but to be aware that we're literally going into a new universe. Pshut kamashmai, we're going into a new palace, and be aware that this is a new moyach, it's a new universe, a new world, and therefore we're opening our hearts to this new universe that we're going into, the universe of Torah Chaf Gimel and Chaf Dalid, and that each Torah is its own world. And b'siyat d'shma, that we should hear the words of Rabbeinu, we should hear the words of Reb Nachman. They should open up our hearts to yearn, to be close to Hashem, to have Simcha. And we're going to begin now. So says the Rebbe. In the English, it's on page 16, if that's helpful. And by the way, as a couple more hakdamas, one of the most important things in learning Reb Nachman is to feel and to go into this world and to remember that he's speaking to you and I today. He's speaking to you and I today, and he wants us to find our own chidushim. A chidush ba'alacha, like we learned about in the last Torah, to find your own chidushim in the Torah, and therefore there's lots of space on the sides here to write notes. And like they say, leaders carry pens. And therefore, you want to be a leader, you want to be a Jewish leader, you want to carry a pen, you want to write down. Now, that doesn't have to be during this time, during the shir. It could be any time that you feel a chiddush, write it down. When I spend time with the great schus of the Reb Moti, he has pages and pages of chiddushim. He's just writing chiddushim all the time. And oh, thank you, Adam. And in the back, they put literally like a booklet of blank pages for your chidushim. Oh, and it says on top, chidushim. Chidushim, in English. English edition. Exclamation mark. So, feel that this is not a monologue, this is a dialogue, this is a space of opening things up. It's a dialogue from on high, and feel that because of that, this is a gift to you to be able to open up this world. And Reb Nachman was very, very big. So let's talk about number one. Reb Nachman was very, very big in learning all the tzaddikim. But I think as you journey through the Torah of Breslov, you'll see that Reb Nachman speaks like a certain language. It goes all the way in. That there's something here that's like a different thing happening. And the way to gain access to that is to stay on the Torah for a while. And learn in a way what we call mineu bay, which means from the Torah itself, that everything that you need is circling back in the Torah, and to realize that there's not that many words in this Torah, but there's so much here. I was learning this Torah last night with my wife, so she was like, you could spend years on it, even though it's short. Like I read the words literally in 10 minutes. She's like, how long are you going to spend on Torah? I don't know, maybe a couple months, maybe. She's like, are you kidding? There's like years. She's years. She said one Indian in the 10 types of song. She's like, the 10 types of song? You could spend a whole month on each type of song. That's already 10 months. Okay? So there's a lot here. And my wife gave her haskama to there's a lot here. And I'm looking forward to going on the journey together, to going inwards. There's so many hakdamas, but we learned last time in the Chai Klalim, and Kedai to maybe go over the Chai Klalim, the 18 principles of how to learn Likutei Moharan that we spoke about, that chazar the Chai Klalim, and remember all the diyukim that you can make, and the mineu bay, and to go into the psukim, and with that, may we be zoicha to mamish open up the ore of Reb Nachman. So it begins the Torah, page 16. The inyan simcha. Let's talk about simcha. Now, it's interesting. Remember, everything is a diuk here. And I don't want to go so be'in the first time around. But what do you mean, the inyan of simcha? What about simcha? Simcha who? No, the inyan. There's an inyan here. It's got to be an inyan. There's an inyan in simcha. What's the inyan? Al-pi mashal. Oh, right off the bat, we're going into a mashal. You want to understand simcha? There's some mashal. There's an analogy that you need to know. Okay, so the simcha, I can't just say it. I have to use a mashal. Which usually means when you use a mashal, it's something very deep. Because you could say what it is, then you just say it. When things are not so deep, you just say it. Like, you want to go get dinner? Like, where do you want to go? For sushi. I didn't just say, like, where do you want to go for dinner? But let me give you a mashal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling like there's like once upon a time was a king, and and he went out to like his holy, royal river, and he found a man over there, and he asked him what he was doing, and he says, I don't need him, I'm going for sushi. It's like straight. When you have something that's deeper, you need a mashal. So Reb Nachman says, the inyan of simcha, not so pashut, I need a mashal. Remember, this is like us right now. I'm not saying we're together in this. I'm just going through it like the way that I'm learning to be makabel from the great Breslover Mashpiyim, is that you go through the Torah with childlike curiosity, as if to say, I don't know anything. And as we're learning it, it's coming up. So we're just in it together. Shelefa'amim keshebenei adam smeichem u'meraktim, that there are times when people are happy and they're dancing. Now, I was thinking about last night, I said to my wife, what does it mean, lefa'amim? Sometimes? Just say, when people are happy and dancing. Lefa'amim. Looks like sometimes something happens here in the mashal. When everybody's happy and dancing, it's interesting that there's happy and there's dancing. When you can be dancing and not happy, I would have thought it's like maybe one thing. Or maybe when you're happy, you automatically dance. So when you're happy and you're dancing, as a choit fin ish echad mibachutz, then what happens? You grab a yid who's standing mibachutz, outside the circle. Now it's interesting. Why is he outside the circle? Everyone's dancing. He's outside. And it looks like lifa'amim goes on, you grab the guy. Maybe not lifa'amim, you're dancing and happy. Lifa'amim, you grab the guy. Which means it could be sometimes you don't grab the guy. Everyone's in a circle. And sometimes you see this. It's like Simcha's Torah, and there's like a guy on the side, like learning a Mishnah Berurah. Now, I love Mishnah Berurah, but like in Simcha's Torah, we're all dancing. Or by L'cha Doidi, and everyone's dancing, and there's a guy, like, okay, he wants to say, Hilchos Shabbos, maybe we shouldn't be dancing, 2 feet off the ground, not jumping. If the Rosh Hashiva dances, it's okay. He dances in the circle. I don't have a minhag to dance. Okay, I can respect that. But if it's stam, I don't want to dance. Why not? So lefa'amim, it's us in the circle. Let's say we're in the circle. Lefa'amim, we're chaytif. We grab a mensch. Grab a mensch and bring him inside. Now, why is he outside the circle? Which is interesting. It sounds like outside is like a bit like intense. Like he's outside. He's outside. Now, without getting into Kabbalah, there's obviously going to be a circle here, and that means something, and then there's outside the circle. There's a chalal panui maybe, and there's outside that. I'm just thinking out loud. There's something happening with a circle. Shehu ba'atzvus umar shchayra. And that guy who's outside the circle is ba'atzvus, Rahman al-Litzlan, he's depressed, and mora shchayra, which usually means very bad depression. Mora, it's amazing, Reb Chaim Kramer literally unpacked all of Reb Nachman's Torahs in this giant set of Likutei Moharan. I remember when I first came to yeshiva, I was like, the black ones, the Likutei Moharans. And you realize he went through every Torah and explained everything in English in a very academic, fine-tuned explanation on everything. And he brings a whole piece down here that Mora Shchayra, that Mora means your gallbladder. Shchar means black. That physiologically, that there's a secretion from the liver which goes and stores in the gallbladder, and some of it in the spleen, which is called black bile. And that black bile is associated with depression. And the gallbladder and the spleen are 2 organs in the body that store that liquid, that secretion, that are associated with depression. If a person's not careful with this black bile. So mora in Hebrew means the gallbladder, and shchayra means black. But it means, also mora means bitter. He's in a bitter black place. Usually mora shchayra is like bad. Like Shaul HaMelech had mora shchayra. You have to think to yourself, okay, he didn't mention Shaul. I know I'm bringing that in. Mibachutz. I don't want to put anything into the Torah that's not there. I have to be careful. I'm trying. In Minei Ubei, you want to hold inside the Torah. Our gift. And what do? Umachnisim oisoi bal korcho letoch machol amarakdim. Then they bring the guy in. Interesting. Bal korche. They schlep him in. Nah, I don't want to dance. Nah. Okay. I'm sure you were never that guy, you know what I'm saying? Now, it's interesting here. They bring the guy in, but it's Bal Korche. Why doesn't he just come in himself? Why doesn't he just come in? Force him in. They push him in.
You can't.
He's b'mor Chevera.
Yeah.
He's b'atzvus.
It's like there's a block.
So let's say I'm going into the mind of the guy. The mind of the guy right now is standing outside the machol. He's standing outside the circle. You got 10 guys that are all dancing. So why didn't he come in the first place? He's got a block. He's got a block. Everybody's dancing and he's standing on the side. Just come on in. What's making him not come in to begin with? That we have to schlep the guy. And then Reb Nachman says you got to bring the guy in. Why didn't he come in from the get-go?
Is this instructional, or is he just describing a scenario?
This is instructional. And it's instructional based on the scenario.
Based on the what?
On the scenario. That there's such a thing, the guys are dancing, and there's one guy on the side, and he's all be'atzu samar shchayr, which is 2 in Yonim, it looks like. And Reb Nachman says, instructionally, bring him in. Machnisa moisai. Bal korchai, l'toich machol amaraktim. Umachricha moisai. Bal korchai. And push upon the guy simcha. Shia samech imoim gam kein. What's coming up for you guys so far? And it's all mashal. It's all a mashal. Because b'inyan simcha, we need a mashal.
Talking about Gam last Torah. I don't know if it's related.
Gam, you're bringing me into Gam.
I don't want to.
No, you can't.
I don't want to mix oil and water.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm still in Torah Beis a little bit. It's like, it's not easy to transition universes. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get a rocket ship up to Mars. It's like a ganz ASIC. They're spending a lot of time on that. But this is way beyond, Mars? That's like taking a step or two compared to change a turn Reb Nachman. So it's a hard thing to get up to Mars. So ben benoy shel kal v'chomer, to go from a Torah to a Torah. It's Shmiel.
It's interesting how it says Ba'al Karchel twice.
Oh, yes.
It's like, it's not enough to just bring them in like, okay, like, check, I did the happiness thing where Nachman told me to actually have to make them happy. It says you have to force them to bring them into the circle, right? So to initially bring them into that environment, to take them out of their sadness, right? And then it says they force him to be happy along with them.
We're saying there was 2 steps. There's 2 steps. There's one, they come on in.
Yeah.
So the guy, I'm in. But then he's there, he's like, okay, like when is the circle ending? Like, so I can go back to my gloominess. And they're like, Reb Yid, while he's in the circle, he needs an extra. I like that.
Well, it sounds like it's 2 stages. Like somehow the action has to come first. You have to get him in the Simcha Dika space, and then you have to activate his heart. You have to bring him, the real him, into it.
So it's not enough.
Body, and then you have to fill it.
It's not enough that he's just. So he's saying the body and soul. It's not enough. I brought the body in. It would not be enough just to bring the body in. That wouldn't work. It's not strong enough.
No, it's not Simcha. He's not actually dancing. He's just, his body is. But now we got to get him actually dancing. We got to get him actually.
It's not automatic, it sounds like.
It's not automatic. Meaning, so that's the first thing. We bring him into the circle of all the dancing, and then then we have to push him to be samech imoim gam kein. Oh, he's saying gam. That's where you're going with the gam. Gam kein. Oh, Aaron.
I think both guys in the muscle is really one guy, but there's 2 parts to him. The happy part is like once we get some math and everything, but then the part that's like sad is he has to force himself, his sad part, right? Could be like the bad part of his soul, whatever. He'll come into the circle with the happy part against his will.
So like the neshama and the goof, or the neshama and the nefesh bahamis. This for sure is all happening inside of us. It's not just stam, I'm going to grab some guy because I'm Mr. Happy Man and he's Mr. Depressed Man and I'm like going to help the guy out. It's happening in me. Okay, so we're going to have to follow this on many levels in the Torah. Adam?
Maybe think of Shalom Melech. Like, Mesh, I don't want to bring him in, but I have to. When he was overcome with his sadness, he needed David's harp playing to get him out of that. Maybe David is the guy that's bringing him in.
It's interesting, David, and we know David was a big dancer. Yeah. David's famous for dancing. David was a big dancer. It says in the Arizal book, when the Arizal, one time by a minion, he told all of his students, he said, I'm going to do something today, but whatever you do, don't laugh. Because whatever you do, I'm telling you, keep your cool, boys. So he called up for the first Aliyah, Aaron HaKohen, and Aaron came up for Kohen, got an Aliyah, and then the Arizal called up Moshe Rabbeinu for Levi, and he went through the Zayin Roim, and finally they got to the last Aliyah, Shvi, and he called up, and everyone was like, but when they called up David was like somersaulting and doing like cartwheels up to the beam, and everyone started crying, this is David? He's so Levidic. And they cracked up, and their eyes like, oh, you ruined everything, I told you not to laugh. And David is next level Simcha. Okay, yes, David is definitely the seminal picture for us of Simcha, and we see by Shal. Yeah?
But translating this into all happening inside of you,
yes,
is the idea that the circle of dancers needs to be an external thing, right? So like a friend or a Rebbe, or can you be your own group of dancers to pull yourself out of that?
I think it could be both, and as we're going to go through this Torah, I want to try to find out what those parts are on the inside of me. And then the Rebbe goes on, Kein yesh be'inyan ha-simcha. And this is what it is with Simcha. Ki kisha'odam sameach, azay amor shchayr v'yisurim nistalkin min atzad. That looks like he's going into the person now. It's no longer Kein yesh be'inyan ha-simcha. Sounds like we're not in the mashal anymore. We had be'inyan ha-simcha api mashal, and then Kein yesh be'inyan ha-simcha. Meaning, what's the inyan ha-simcha? We say inyan again. What's the inyan ha-simcha? We're going to give a mashal, where people are dancing. They grab the guy outside. It's all depressed. They bring him in. Bal korcha. Okay, now he's in the circle. Then they make him happy in the circle. Cain also it is with the inyan of simcha in me. Looks like kisha adam sameach. Who's the adam here? And what's the depressed part? I guess that's not the adam. When the Adam himself can get himself to Simcha, Azai Hamor Shcher v'Yisur. Now he adds something Yisurin. And he doesn't say Atzus anymore. He switched. First it was Atzus and Mor Shcher. Then it was Mor Shcher v'Yisurim. All of his Mor Shcher and his Yisurim, his pains, his suffering, and these words are very fascinating to me. Nistalkin min atzad. They stay by the side. Okay, what does that mean? What does it mean it stays by the side?
I think if you don't work on continuously being a simcha, you can always just like latch on. It's always waiting to latch on again.
Oh, it's like waiting by the side, like just wait a second.
And the second you wait, it jumps in.
I was thinking of Rashi's definition of Simcha is that you have a full heart, that you're really present in every experience. And I think that like for me, you know, there's many layers of happiness. There's like happiness, it's like a very expressive. I was sitting on a bench, like just taking in the moment of being in Yerushalayim, and this chassid comes up and he goes, "Where's your simcha?" And I said, "It's right here, right here." So I think that maybe it's kind of like, you know, there's parts of myself that are not even in this experience. They're just kind of taken out. They're just lost in the daydream or not really connected to what's going on, and those are the parts that are outside the circle of all of the experience of this place. Not just happy, but all of the experience. Sadness, sadness but not depressive, like sadness and the upset and the frustration and all of that. Like the whole, what actually is here for me, and being totally with that and bringing all of that up with me, I think is like not allowing me to go to the side.
So we're going to see that I think what you're describing is this next half of the Torah, which is that it's not minat sad. We'll see this in a moment. Right now, there seems to be a type of simcha where the guy's in the circle and the Yisur and the Marshchera, they remain on the side. I almost thought this is like, you bring the guy in the circle, you even make him a little happy, and he keeps his depression like on the side. But when the circle ends, so it's like he didn't really deal with it, but it looks like it was a good thing that he snapped out of it. You at least broke the guy out. I wouldn't call it the deep therapy of going and becoming a simcha dika person, but I would at least say that we have abated the problem for a period of time, and that's already a very good thing. And that's part of the inyan simcha, is that we almost have to force the guy out. Like a person who is depressed, it's like he's paralyzed. He can't get out of this thing. You have to schlep the guy in. There's like a wall that you schlep the guy, get out of it. Pull the guy out of bed, if need be. Anything. Just get him into a positive environment in the machol, in this, we're going to see there's a lot of this machol. In the next Torah, there's so much in the machol. This circle. You pull him into this circle. Now he's on the inside, but something still remains on the side. Yeah.
I think another way to look at it, and specifically the wording that it uses now Yisurim. Yisurim is like your life, what happens in your life, the somewhat negative things that happen in your life, and you can't stop those negative things from happening to you just by being happy, but you can stop your reality, so to speak, from being a negative reality.
Oh.
The thing is still happening, but you're not in that space of mind.
Oh, the Yisurim are there. They're on the side, but I don't see them as Yisurim anymore. I'm in the circle.
So they're on the side. They still exist. So you're out of reality, but in your mind, you're happy. They're on the side.
The spark. You haven't let the sparks fall there. Like you haven't let yourself be trapped in the klipa. You're with yourself. You know, you've taken them back to the circle, the space of simcha.
This is all phase one of the Torah, and we're seeing it kind of quicker as we first go through it, and then we're going to go back and go be'in. Look at the next part. All of a sudden, Reb Nachman says, "Avol ma'ile yisera," but there's a higher level now, which means everything we said was the lower level, and now there's a higher level. I mean, this whole mashal that we just said, of people are dancing, and you slap the guy in, and then you machrich and oisai, that he should be besimcha gamkein. But now there's a maila yisera. There's a higher level. What's the higher level? Lis ametz, that's a very interesting word. To be courageously powerful. Lir doif achar amayra shreira davka. You run after the gloom and the depression, specifically, lahachnis oisai gam kein betoich hasimcha. You want to bring that depression dafka in to the simcha, ba'oifin, in a way, shehamora shchoira be'atzma tishapech l'simcha. That the depression and the gloom itself becomes simcha. Which means in the first mashal, the Morosh Chayra and the Yisurim are minat sad. They're staying on the side. But the Maili Yisera, the higher level, is to go seek out that depression that's on the side and literally bring it in.
What's the difference? The last of them want to bring it also.
So this is what I'm trying to understand, is the last one we brought the guy in, but it looks like he left his sadness on the side. So temporarily he's happy, and that's a good thing. He's happy now. But it's like waiting for him. It's waiting for the party to end. It's waiting for him for the Shalashudas to end. It's waiting for him for the spiritual experience and the weekend seminar to end. And then it's minat sad. It's nostalgic in Natzad. It's waiting there, and all of a sudden it's going to grab him when he comes. That's what I'm thinking. He comes out of the circle, and now he's chapped again by this atzvus. Masha Enkein here. Who is this talking about? This ametz lirdoif achar mar shchera. So I was thinking this is that you're like running after the guy. You're running after all of him. In the first mashal, the guy is basically there, and he's, let's say he's sad, and he brings the guy in, but the sadness remains like on the side. In the second one, you run after the guy, and you pull all of them in. And my wife had a chiddush on this yesterday, and I thought it was a very chashuv chiddush. So she said, a lot of depression comes because a person's lonely. So she said, the first mashal is talking about where the guy's on the side, and the guys in the circle didn't do such an avoida. They brought the guy in, okay, they just like, he's like there, like, come, Rabbi, come. Okay, so fine, like, I'm already in shul, l'chadoidi, okay, the Rosh was dancing, okay, fine, okay, I'm in. And then even when he's in there, like, yeah, let's go. He doesn't necessarily feel in the first mashal that they were really there for him. He was there, so they brought him into the circle. She said, but the second mashal, I don't see mashal here, just the second inyan, maybe this is part of it's like another layer of the mashal, I'm not sure. She said the second Maili Yisera is now we're introduced to Lirdoif. They're actually pursuing the guy. They're going to his dorm room. He doesn't feel lonely anymore because somebody's looking for him. In the mashal, nobody was really running after the guy. So, okay, fine, I'm in the circle, but I don't feel that you were really looking to find me. It could be, we're all b'simcha, and like, join us, b'simcha. But it was like a weak join us. She was giving muster to the guys in the first mashal. She's saying, okay, no, like you schlepped the guy in, but like, were you roidif after him? Did you go seek him out be'emes? The first mashal, lav dafka, the guy feels any less lonely. But she said in the Maili Yisera, the person feels that people are literally looking for me. I'm no longer lonely. People are looking to bring me in. They care about me. They want me to be part of this. She said, if you do that, then you could be mahapich, the marashchayra, into simcha.
You know, it makes no mention of Baal Korcho here also. And in the first mashal, it was Baal Korcho against his will, you have to bring him there.
Oh, it's interesting. Look down. Let's just see this. Baal Korcho does come up again, but something else happens where the word that stood out to me over and over in the Maili Yisera is tishapech, is adar, v'nahapachu. Everything now all of a sudden is being flipped. We're flipping things. In the first one, it's minatzad. Nothing got flipped. All the marshchayr is still waiting on the side, but now the word tishapech comes up over and over. Sheyahapech hamarshchayr. And now look at the next line, the third line. Sheyahapech hamarshchayr. Now the person is flipping over all the melancholy. The kol hayisurin l'simcha. He's turning the darkness into happiness. Kederech haba l'toich hasimcha. Like a person who comes to a celebration. Sha'az migoydel hasimcha ve'achedva. Now there's chedva all of a sudden. What's that? What's chedva? It's no longer simcha, it's chedva. Mahapech, he now, again, mahapech.
What's chedva?
Chedva is a high level of simcha. It says, oiz v'chedva bimkoimoi. It says, where Hashem is, bimkoimoi, wherever Hashem is, his dwelling place is strength and chedva. Lebedigkeit. It's chedva. It's ganz lebedik where Hashem is. It's chedva up there. And that's a new thing in the Torah. Now this thing called chedva. And that's mahapa kol daigas. Now we have daigas. That's a new thing now. Daigas. Daigas, all the worries. And now he's back to atzvus. And now and more shchayra. Shalom l'simcha. What happened to the Yisurim? Looks like the Yisurim are gone. Nimtza. What comes out of all this? Shechaytef amar shchayra. that he grabbed the marshchayra, umachnis oisa, there's bar korcha, l'toich hasimcha kamoshal anir la'el. So what's happening now? What is this second phase, this Maila Yisera? Okay, we're going to see the, basically, rest of the Torah, because we're just getting like the superstructure of the Torah here, before we go Be'in. And you should know the amount of Likutei Halachas on this is nifla. Is nifla. The 215 is going to be Leibedik. There's nifla dika Likutei Halachas on this. It's not a long Torah, but it's...
215, you're also doing this?
Yeah. Likutei Halachas. And now Reb Nachman's a pasuk. Until now we were holding in a mashal. Now we bring a pasuk. Sasun v'simcha, a pasuk from Isaiah. Sasun v'simcha. Now it's amazing. Reb Chaim Kramer always brings basically where this exists in the pshat in the pasuk. So we'll see that in a second. Sasun v'simcha. So sasun and simcha. Now we have sasun. Yasigu. They will acquire them. They will attain them. V'nasu yogun v'anocha. And run away will the worries and all the sighing. So look down at note 7. Yeshayahu's words depict the return to Yerushalayim of the Jewish exiles following Sancherib's withdrawal from the holy city. God's redeemed will return. The Jewish people will return. They will come to Tzion with joyous song, crowned with eternal joy. They will attain gladness and joy as sadness and sighing flee. Okay, that's the simple pshat as we're coming back. We're Leibedik, coming back, which is interesting. It's like tshuva, we're coming back somewhere, coming back to Yerushalayim. That's associated also, and Reb Nachman brought that pasuk, that's associated with Sasan and Simcha, come back home to Yerushalayim. And as that is happening, all of the worries and depressions start fleeing. It's an interesting language. Nasu. They flee as we're coming back. So now Reb Nachman takes this Alpi Drushmore. Sheyogun va'anocha borchem, that all the yogun va'anocha, all the sadness start running away. V'nosim min asimcha. So that he says it like this. The simple meaning means when Klal Yisrael is coming back to Yerushalayim, so like through the happiness, like everything's running away because we're happy. So Reb Nachman says, no, it's something a little bit deeper. As happiness comes in, so the depression's like, I can't stand. It's like that, I don't want to be part of this. It's like the guy running away from the circle. So everyone's happy, or let's say like this. Somebody gets up to make a little circle. So there's that guy, he's like, oh no, they're dancing now. So he just like conveniently like, I have to go to the bathroom. It's like he conveniently like leaves. When there's like too much happiness, he's uncomfortable being depressed when everyone's happy. So he's like running, he's fleeing from the simcha. Ki be'esa simcha derech hayogoin va'anocha lamoid min atzad. Because at a time of simcha, it's the derech. That's an interesting language. It's the derech. It's like the mahalach. It's like the minug of depressed guys to want to skedaddle and get out of the simcha-dika situation. There's too much. So everyone, why are you guys all so happy? Like, it's like a natural thing. The guy just walks out. Yeah, Adam.
I just noticed this word, the nasu. The only time that's used in the Torah is when the sea split. We say it in Hallel. Or when Yosef, we also say it in Hallel when the sea splits. Maybe this is related.
So we have to think about that. But now Reb Nachman says, you know what you have to do though? As the guy is leaving the circle, and he's running away because everyone's too happy. Go run after that guy. Just get him. No, I see where you're going. Pay attention, by Lachadodi. Yosel.
I like how, like, even in Olam Haza, like, Rabbi Nachman will have you, like, pull out a Gehenna with your payas, like, even, like, your own personal Gehenna in, like, Olam Haza.
He's running after you.
Yeah.
He's going all the way down there. Talking about Roy the Vacharov. He's running. He's going into get him. He's running after him. Avot tzarech lirdoif achareim daika lahasigam. You got to chap the guy, or lagiam and bring him. Interesting. Lasigam, lagiam. It's like dargas of this. Go, catch up, seek, acquire, and lahachnis, and then bring him in. Davka l'toich simcha. You got to mamish seek out that guy. He's running. You catch up. He's running faster. Turn on the jets. Go find that guy. Go bring him in. Yeah, Jonah.
The guy who's he just wants to be alone.
Just leave me alone.
He's sad. He wants to go put on his hoodie and sit in the corner, and you bring him in, but he's just gonna mope around and drag his feet, and then you feel bad in the circle. You're like, oh, this guy, he just wants to be sad alone, and here I am bringing him, and there's a whole
It looks like
problem there.
that would be maybe misplaced compassion. I want to be nice to the guy, so I'll just let him be depressed. It's misplaced rachmanis. What he really wants in his core is to be happy. You think a human being wants to be depressed? He doesn't want that in his essence. So we have to go. It looks like the responsibility lies within Simcha. The responsibility lies within the ones in the circle to go roidif, to literally run. This is like a cat, like a chase, like a movie. Lahasigam, lagiam, lahachnis. Like literally seek the guy up, sprint, go get the guy. Everything here is roidif. Like mamish chase the guy. Seek him out. Don't let him put it on his hoodie and hide in a corner. He's like hiding under a table. Just let me be depressed in my bed with my phone. Run. Find him. When I spoke to my Rabbi one time about it, I said, Rabbi, like how much do you have to go find the guy? Guy doesn't come to shir. Like how far should you go? So Reb Nachman has a famous story about the Turkey prince. They have to go under the table. We have to find them. Go seek and just go find the guy. That's what they need. You got to go find them to bring them in. Okay, this is my own tshuva. I'm working on this, but you have to go find the Chevera. Yeah, Yosel.
Jonah's point, what if his avoida is doing like a little bit of hisvoida do something?
So we'll see, once we get to Torah Chav Daled, he's going to talk about a broken heart, which is very different than atzvus. A totally different thing than depression is a broken heart. And even that, Reb Nachman says, only a certain time of day to do it, for a limited amount of time, and to be careful that brokenheartedness can bleed over very easily into depression. And he's going to talk about the eitzes of what to do, never to come to that. There's a red line called depression that is usher for us to go to. And ad kedei kach, that those that are besimcha have a responsibility to be like running after these yidden. But we're going to get to a contrite, shivrin leiv.
I think the question that came to my mind is like, why is this person depressed in the first place? And depression comes from a place of doubt. It comes from a place of not being able to give myself over to reality and trust reality and be with reality because of whatever reason. It sounds like, for myself, I'm thinking, like, don't allow that part of yourself that doubts just to exist and continue to move forward with the simcha. Really go to that doubt and transform it. Bring it with you.
That's definitely the Ma'ale Yisera. It's some mahapich. We saw, I think it's 4 times mahapich. Yahapich, yahapich, mahapich, yisapich. To turn it around. And now the Rebbe ends the Torah. V'zeu sason v'simcha yasigu. Sason and simcha you're going to have. She'asason v'asimcha yasigu. That they're going to literally have, it also means like catch up. V'yitpesu esayogan v'anocha. They're going to grab a hold. They're going to chap the depressed guy. Shehem nasim v'borchim minasim. That are running away. That, exactly, yeah, what's nasim v'borchim? Maybe it's like they're running and then they turn on the turbojets. There's nasim. The guy's just running. He's like slowly walking out. And everyone starts to stand at the dance. He's like, just walking out. And then all of a sudden, like, he notices people are coming. And his pace picks up.
No, really, I'm just going to the bathroom. I'm just going.
I brought it. Lahachnis oisem bal korchem, again, and you have bal korchem, l'toich ha-simcha k'nir la'el. And then the Rebbe ends the Torah. Ki yesh yogon v'anocha sheheim ha-sitra achra. Now it's interesting, he doesn't say yogon v'anocha is the sitra achra, he says yesh yogon, ki yesh yogon. That there are types of, and here it's yogon v'anocha, he doesn't say atzvus. Atzvus mamish is the sitra achra, but here he says yogon v'anocha. Yogon is like a sadness, even all of this, also what's yogon, what's atzvus, what's mar shchayra. Yisurin, I think we know more clearly. And there are those, yogon v'anocha, sighing. Reb Nachman talks a lot about sighing. That there could be holy sighing, there could be sighing from the dark side. Talks a lot about sighing. Sighing is a big, big Indian of Reb Nachman. You notice a lot of Breslovs, they'll sigh. And there's actually an avodah to sighing. But there's a yesh yogain v'anocha shehem asitra achra. There is a type of sighing, like, that's very different than, they're both sighing, they're both an anocha, but one is like sitra achra mamish, like I'm not dealing, I can't handle the situation, it's not what I think should be happening, I'm upset, so I'm sighing. It's like almost like a sigh, grunt, groan thing. Like a groan or grunt. Is that a grunt?
It's a groan.
A groan?
Grunting is more like lifting weights.
Oh, lifting So you're saying a grunt is never from the sitra. It could be.
A grunt is like something happened, like, someone stepped on my toe.
It's a grunt?
I think so.
But a groan is like, that's a groan. It's not a sigh. It's definitely not nocha. I don't know if we have a word in Hebrew for a groan. Looks like groan, maybe you could say like this, that the Hebrew word is anocha. Anocha could either be from the side of Kedusha or the side of Klipa, the Sitra Achra. On the side of Kedusha, it's a sigh, a holy sigh. And the side of the Sitra Achra, it's a groan, like, She'enim reitzim liyos merkava ela kedusha. Look at that. It looks like there's a yogon and an anocha that it's actually could be a merkava for kedusha. You could have a holy yogon and a holy anocha, but they're running away from that. They don't want to give in to the fact that you're could actually be from the side of kedusha. They want to keep it on the side. Same thing. What happened in? Is it more guttural?
Yeah. You're like letting the air out.
It's more vocal.
It's more.
So what do they call it? Why do they call it a groan? How do you say throat in Hebrew?
A garon.
Oh.
There's more gut, there's more groanishkeit. Because you have to work for it. You have to work. A sigh, it's like it's a release. It's very natural. Whereas a groan is like, it's like you're working on it.
A nice sigh is actually letting all the air out of your body. For the other one, it's like leaving a little bit in.
It's leaving in. It's rejecting the release experience. It's rejecting it. When you have a holy anocha, a holy sigh, I'm trying to understand this. It's like, this is all happening inside of me right now. You have this pressure, let's say. Why does the person sigh?
Let it out.
So what is it?
Pressure.
So in the sigh is that something was building up. And why do we sigh in the first place? Something was building and I got it. Everything's beseder.
Yeah, when you jump on the couch on Chevera, you're just like, just release.
What am I releasing? I'm trying to what am I releasing? Pulas mishtanas. Whereas the groan, we're saying, is that I'm leaving something in. So why am I groaning in the first place? Am I letting something out? Something came out? Is the something I'm letting out a good thing? I'm trying to have what is it? What's coming out? And yes, I feel that a groan is it's not full. It's holding back. But it looks like maybe that would still be good because at least some is coming out. I'm trying to chap this.
And you're trying to do the same thing, right? Meaning when you're like, what are you doing? You were holding angst inside you, and then you're like, you're letting it out, and it's coming out because you're in the space to let it out. But a groan is like, like I want this out, but there's turmoil. I can't.
There's friction in letting out.
I'm not in the space to really let it out, so I'm trying to unnaturally force it out, but I'm not there yet to actually release it.
I'm so into this.
I would say like the groan, because it's more guttural, it's like the coolest mashtanis of like iron, because it has like guttural like sort of noise, but like
always has the aleph. It's the silent letter.
Aleph, it's like more silent. It's
silent
more,
letter.
The unity, taking all the coolest mashtanis inside, is like letting.
That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful.
Silent.
And alkane? Oh, yeah, Zach.
It's like besides like a release of it, but like the groan is like an expression of it. Like you're just like.
So I'm not even releasing. I'm like verbalizing. I'm articulating frustration.
Right.
Your mom is not letting go.
Am I making it worse? I'm trying to chap. Like, what am I?
I mean, you're definitely like indulging in it.
I'm indulging in it.
Even that sound is not pleasant for somebody else to hear.
Oh, it's not a sigh is a nice one, right?
Yeah. Everybody knows a sigh is relax.
There was a rabbi that I once spent some time with. So he had a minhag that right before Kiddush at his house, his whole family, everyone, count three, everyone. And they would all do this like nice, like, Shabbos. It's a nice little minhag, right? It was just like, that was a sigh. It was just like,
sounds like a sigh.
It is, yeah. Shabbos. It's nice, right? And the Rebbe ends the Torah. Al kain, therefore, you have to pull these things into Kedusha. It looks like the Yogan Vanocha, the Hainu has Simcha. A sigh is a Simcha. A real sigh is a Simcha. Like the couch moment, the Shabbos moment. There's a lot of Simcha there. There's some Breslovers that dafka sigh at the beginning of Shemona Esrei.
Dobre does it all the time.
It looks like all that yogoin and that anocha that could have been on the side of Sitra Achra, he's now pulling it into Shemona Esrei, which is Gans Kedusha. Dahainu as-simcha bal korcham kanir la'el. That's the Torah. Some are always like, you got years on this Torah, years on this Torah. We're talking about the differentiation between sigh consciousness and groan consciousness. What's happening in the guttural action? What's happening what's the before the sigh? What's the after? So in summary, we saw that there's two levels. It all began with inyan as simcha. There's an inyan of simcha, and then there's a mashal, and then there's Maili Yisera, and then we had a pasuk from Yeshayahu, and then Reb Nachman darshan the pasuk, and all of a sudden we're talking about Sitra Achra, and you have to run after and be nishapich, and pull that into the simcha. We should mamish be zoicha, as we're beginning this journey of Chav Gimel, Tinyana, to be Yidden of simcha, to mamish be in the world of simcha. I was about to say, it's like trying to keep myself in the Torah, to be in the world of Kedusha, the Kedusha of Simcha, and with that bring all of Am Yisrael, all of humanity into the great Simcha. And the Beis HaMikdash is a place of Simcha. And Yerushalayim is a place of Simcha. That we're going to see Mamish, the Tikka B'Shoifar, Godel, and the Sechezena Einein, the B'Shuvacha, the Tzion, Berachamim. We're going to say all of Am Yisrael, all of Gans humanity come. Ki Beisi Beis Tefila. Yikar L'Kol Ha'amin, with the Gans Simcha of David Malka Mashiach coming back. Mashiach Tzidkein B'mhir of Yemenu. Amen. Amen. Oh Yahweh Hasheinu Matol Elkeinu Manahim Golavei.